And here we go. This is Mike Lodge. I am the business advisor for today. It might change tomorrow. Who knows? It's a beautiful day here in South Carolina. It's about 74 degrees in the morning. It is now. I'm late in recording this, by the way. It's 8:30. Yeah, 8:30 in the morning, and it's 70 degrees. Beautiful. We're supposed to get up to 91. We're still below the state average of 95, so those of you who are telling me that this is the hottest summer ever, nah, it's not here in South Carolina. It's the normal temperatures. Say, I've been thinking, and we keep hearing that the economy is good. You know, it's roaring, it's good, the job numbers are good. But if you look at everything, we have a lot of red flags out there. And when they just point out certain numbers, and it's usually about two, the CPI, which is the inflation index, and also the unemployment. If you look at those two numbers, that's not the only thing that's happening in this economy. Yeah, we might be producing more jobs, but they're not high-paying jobs. And yes, inflation might be coming lower, but that's not what we're experiencing as we live every single day. So the economy that the government is reporting is not the economy that Americans are feeling. At least I'm not. I'm speaking for myself, and you might agree with me, and you may not. But I don't see a strong economy. I just don't see it. And I think that we have gotten off track. I think that the government has spent so much time in social issues, social political issues, and starting a war that we should not have never have been involved in, and doing other things that have nothing to do with the economy, but only to do with politics. And that's the problem. Once we gear off into politics, we never solve the economical problems. And so I'm going to suggest to you today that the numbers that we're looking at are not good numbers. I think they're corrupted numbers because politics have gotten so deep inside. We saw it when we had COVID. We saw numbers that did not make sense at the very beginning. And they were making a big deal about 0.001% being infected by COVID. And then they begin maneuvering the numbers. They begin manipulating the numbers, And then people that went in for an actual cold had COVID. And they didn't have COVID at all. I know, because I've talked to many of my clients who went in for another ailment, and when they walked out, they had COVID because the hospitals were making money off of COVID. The pharmaceutical companies were making money off of COVID. I think that with the movement of our cash flow that we see with all of these electronic things, we've got crypto now, we've got Bitcoin, we've got all kinds of different currencies, it is going to become even more difficult to see exactly what the flow of money is going to and what it's being used for. I think we're going to have a hard time telling what the economy truly is doing because we don't have any stability. We don't have any stability in knowing exactly what's going on with the currency. And right now, the currency is way down because inflation has gone down. So the value of the dollar has gone down. So the American economy has undergone a significant transformation over the years, leading to both advancements and a whole bunch of challenges. That's why I don't think that our numbers we're looking at them correctly, because the business model of the United States has changed. We've got now a whole bunch of different things going on in our economy. And when we're looking at unemployment, we're not looking at those who are self-employed anymore. We're not looking at any of those people who are out there like that. And when we come to inflation, we're not looking at certain issues on inflation. We're missing some numbers there. So they're taking all of the numbers that they think will be good numbers and put them all together, and we're not getting good data. When we don't have good data, we have bad policy making being done and no policy making being done. So we have incomplete economic data and distressing trends in sectors of our commercial real estate and also the auto industry. It is crucial that we examine these values in the various facets of all this data that is being thrown at us every single day, and we need to look at the facets collectively rather than focusing on isolated fragments of the economy in order to make informed and effective decisions for the future. One of them is the speed of money movement. I mean, we are moving money throughout the economy so fast that once we've got a report done, but they've changed completely. And it might be even in the opposite direction. Then we've got the rising government debt that keeps growing every single day. In fact, when they did that latest debt ceiling movement, the bill that they did, we've already spent $2 trillion. Now we've got $2 trillion more debt there. So we've got debt there, and it needs to get under control because you can never control an economy if you've got too much debt. You just can't do it. So if we don't start focusing on the loans out there that we can pay down very quickly, do some renegotiation on the loans, look at other better ways to not do things with loans, but maybe through another type of situation. I mean, well, the debt is out of control. And the escalating individual debt, because of what government is doing, is growing every single day. The American economy has witnessed a surge in individual debt levels. Factors such as easy access to credit, rising healthcare costs, stagnant wages, and a culture of consumer lower spending. I mean, we have all pulled back on our spending. What really surprised me is that the American credit card debt has gone out of control through the pandemic and also through this inflationary time because people don't have enough wages to cover the cost of living. The average American credit card debt, it's highly concerning to me, and it's a big red flag. And banks should be looking at this. The average American credit card debt is, for Generation X especially, those are ages 41 through 56, has the highest level credit card debt of $7,070. That's how much debt they have on their credit cards. And that grows every single day because the credit card interest is so big. Gen Z and millennials saw their average credit card debt increase from 2020 to 2021 by 11.5% and 5.2% respectively, while averages dropped for those 41 and above. In total, Americans have an absolute mountain of credit card debt. It sits as of 2023, first quarter of 2023, of $986 billion. Billion with a capital B. This is a red flag. And we have to look at it very carefully. If the banks do not become more aggressive in managing this risky debt, they will be hit with huge losses. And we're starting to see losses in these banking financial statements. We've got outdated financial models. We've got incomplete economic data. We've got commercial real estate hitting the biggest red flag ever because people are walking away from their commercial real estate deals. Walking away from whole buildings, walking away from whole hotel chains. I mean, they are walking away. They're handing the keys. I've said this before, but they're handing the keys back to the lender. So the automobile industry is also in trouble. Same situation. People can no longer afford the high monthly payment of $1,000, $800 to $1,000 on a car. The interest rates are going up. The value of those cars are going down. They overpaid on cars. They were overpriced with dealer markups and everything else. We have a problem. And we need to address these problems because these are big red flags for the economy and for the banking industry. Because most of this debt is handled by the American banks. So we need to navigate the complexities of the modern American economy. It is imperative that decision makers adopt a holistic approach. Addressing bits and pieces of the economy in isolation will not yield sustainable solutions. It just will not. We must acknowledge the acceleration of money movement, tackle rising government and individual debt, update financial models to keep pace with the changes that are mounting with AI and everything else. I just saw an ad this morning. AI for accounting. Just speak it and you can get your reports. Do you know how financial analysts are going to be gone because AI will take over their jobs? We need to build new financial strategies based on good data. But right now we don't have good data. And the government has got to sit down and say, okay, how are we going to monitor this economic change on a daily basis so that at the end of the month we have a good data that we can look at. Right now they're just looking at bits and pieces. And you can't do that because the whole economic model has to be on everything that's out there that's going to hit us. All the red flags have got to be addressed. Not be all of a sudden be surprised that banks are failing like we did in the last 2 months. We have a problem. And we need to look at these problems and we need good data. So we need to readdress our financial models. That's just the only way we can do it. Tomorrow I'm going to talk about small businesses and where government has failed in letting down small businesses. We have more small businesses going into bankruptcy than ever before. And this has got to stop. Government has completely taken the eyes off of the economy and small businesses. Remember, the small businesses are the backbone of this nation. And that backbone is getting broken by the government. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow because it's so very important that we understand, we see the big picture of the economy, not just bits and pieces. So as we get closer to this election, expect more lies to be spoken about the economy. It always happens. When there's an election, everybody thinks they're doing a great job. In actuality, no one is doing a good job at monitoring what is happening in the economy. If we do not focus first on what's happening in the United States, forget about this war in Ukraine, pull out of it and as quickly as possible, all that money that we have sent to Ukraine could have been spent on education. It could have been spent on roads. It could have been spent on the infrastructure of electrical grids. It could have been spent on building some new ships, some more planes. I don't know. But we could have focused on creating jobs in the United States better. And we could have focused on helping businesses grow. We could have focused on getting roads maintained. We could have focused on new healthcare provisions for hospitals and rural hospitals who are hurting really bad. We have so much that needs to be done in the United States. We've got to get off of this social, environmental nonsense and start focusing on the core needs of Americans. And it has got to start very quickly. So when you hear the president talk about a grand, good, wonderful economy, he's telling you a campaign lie. Because everything he has touched has turned to nonsense. Listen, if you want to sit down and talk with me confidentially about business issues, you can go to my website and book some time with me at www.lodge.co.com. If you have a business question, send it to me at thebusinessadvisor@gmail.com. Everybody go out and have a great day. Tomorrow, small business. Talk with you then. Bye-bye.